against my enemies, yeah. You see, you wanted to save you, and then learn how to raise you. But I forget you're from the wilderness.
I couldn't believe you did that to one of our local cryptids. Like,
what am I after doing now?
Linda Forarse. Did you leave Linda for? Did you take her clothes or something?
Luscious Linda Forarse. I don't remember. I don't think.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I can't believe it. For our listeners, one of our famous cryptids is Linda with the four arses, and yeah. So basically, I stumbled across her, and luckily, I recounted this in the form of a poem. Otherwise, it would have been lost forever. I have memory like a sieve. So, here I am walking down the street. The weather is warm. This is a treat. I'm walking past some houses when all of a sudden I see a woman without a blouses. Help me, please, sir. I've been robbed. My name is Linda Forarses, and for you I have a job. Help me get my clothes. They were stolen by a ginger. I'll find them, Linda. You'll no longer be a whinger. Eamon, what do you have to say for yourself?
Just trying to think now, if I remember correctly. Let me give me a second now. Maybe come to me in the form of a song, as it sometimes, or as it is wont to do. So, sorry. I was trying to remember, just trying to get Linda Forrest back in my head. I was down in Fresno. I was eating al fresco. When all of a sudden I see a pair of feet coming towards me. So I look up, expecting to see a smile, but all I saw was the distance for miles. It was just two legs covered in white, and I said, what gives? Linda Forrest stole my lunch, so I chased her. She would have had a hunch if she had had a torso. Where it went, well, I don't know, so I stole all her clothes. There you go.
So you stole her clothes, yeah. She
stole my lunch. No, she did. And I was eating Alfred, like a nice Italian place.
What a bitch!
Yeah, and like it wasn't even clothes. Like it was just like grabbed her and the white, like the you know. And so like me, Rob, I don't be stealing women's clothes. I'm not a perverted creep.
Well, Linda Forrest's clothes are probably ill-fitting because she had to go to the local loom shop to get her clothes made.
Oh yeah, fruit of.
Yeah. So she got custom Egyptian cotton pantaloons made on the loom.
Very comfortable.
Yeah, because, 4 hours is very hard to get proper fitting clothes, like, do you know?
Yeah. No one knows about those proper fitting clothes when you have 4 hours, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Gun smoke coming out the nose, clothes a hose. Yeah, so what is up, guys? Rob here, and with me is...
It's Eamon.
Oof. And we are on Patreon. Patreon.com/Monsterfuls. Patreon, great fun, guys. Really do appreciate the support, and it is allowing us to develop our platform, and that is exactly what we're doing. We have big plans in the future. We've talked about these on our Discord. In the future, we do plan on having me and Eamon in one room. The Patreon money will be...
That's our OnlyFans. That's our OnlyFans.
That's our OnlyFans tier, is me and Eamon in one room. But we plan on having, a table, mics, our own laptops, our own setup, to be able... A full multimedia setup for Monsterfuls. That is the ultimate goal. That is the dream, the vision. And it actually won't cost us that much to do that, Eamon, to be fair, right?
No, I think we have most of what we need. We could do like a hobo version of it now if we were in the same place,
Yeah. We need a young Jamie. I have someone in mind for that as well. And we'll be able to actually sort out a proper fun video element of the podcast, because we've said it before. like Monster Fuzz is definitely like YouTube friendly and things like that. So we do intend on taking the platform to there at some point. But rest assured, audio only. Ooh. We won't leave you behind.
We never
ASMR on the farty chair. We won't leave you behind. Jeez. So March. Teespring.com/stores/monster-fuzz. Get your Monster Fuzz merch, and you will not find any of our old logo merch on Monster Fuzz on our Teespring anymore. So I'm actually talking to you from days of future past. So
we're in a bit of litigation at the moment with the old...
we're also in a liminal space, Eamon, because
TM.
this has happened 3 weeks ago. So
okay.
Yeah. So
we're probably both in jail. Both in jail for not stealing stuff and being accused of theft.
We got in a sticky situation by paying some Indonesians.
They took away my PlayStation because I didn't have any assets.
Those tricky Indonesians. I paid them for a logo, and what I get is a lawsuit. But yeah, guys, so congratulations if you have one of your old t-shirts. Well done.
They could be worth something.
Yeah, it could be worth something. Twitter, Monster Fuzz Pod. Everywhere else, Monster Fuzz Podcast. Eamon, where do we send ghost stories to?
Do you have a scary story? I want to know what it is. Make me shit my pants, 'cause that's the monster fizz. If you have a scary story, I would like you to send it to monsterfuzzpodcast@gmail.com. Make me feel the Weetabix and orange juice run down my pant leg. Over and out.
Until the Weetabix down my leg. It's that Led Zeppelin lyric. And you squeeze my lemon until the juice run down my leg. So yeah, you want to squeeze the Weetabix until it runs down Eamon's leg, basically.
No Otabix, all Weetabix here, baby.
Yeah, and shouts out to all our patrons. We appreciate you muchly, and all of your muchly.
I appreciate you muchly.
Yeah, and all of your support and money goes towards our legal fees.
Our new legal battle. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, so check it out, guys. It's a lot of fun over there. So today we are talking about who, Eamon?
We are talking about the Fresno Nightcrawlers.
And what are they, Eamon?
Are the most Silent Hill-ish looking cryptid we've covered to date.
Right. Indeed they are, yes. Very bizarre looking, very unusual. They cross the borders of potentially alien and also like sort of maybe cryptid of some kind, you know?
It's like the bottom half of an alien.
Yes.
Very curious. Well, yeah, not necessarily, but I don't know.
Just it could be like them lads floating around up in farty Jupiter, you know?
Yeah, it could be the farty Jupiter boys, yeah, because they probably have a lot of farts, because they only have bums.
Yeah, now, these shouldn't be confused before we get into it, because I know people from Wexford are going to confuse this with another Wexford cryptid. No, it's not Linda 4 Hours, but it is the woman with the capital L legs. So there is a cryptid that used to be in my... I don't think she is anymore.
Oh, this is the one that used to be by the bank. Yeah.
She has two capital L for legs. So, and she's another cryptid. Now, you never seen her moving or anything, but she had capital L legs, and then she'd disappear after a certain amount of time. Am I right in saying that, Em?
I don't remember seeing her for a long, long time.
Yeah, she just disappeared. She ultimately disappeared, but she used to sort of travel through liminal spaces to move to other spaces and appear in other parts. Like, no one actually ever seen her move. But
yeah, never saw her walking. Didn't look like she could walk.
No, had legs like door brackets.
Yeah. It was one of those.
Sorry,
it was probably one of those. It was a bit grim. Like, it's like, do you ever see that movie Slumdog Millionaire, where to get the kids to beg more, they like blind them and fucking break their arms in weird ways. Yeah, it was a bit rough.
No, I don't think it was anything to do with that. I just think it was a cryptid. And,
right.
Yeah. No, I think it was an unexplained phenomenon, to be quite honest with you.
Could be.
Yeah. It seemed to be energized by 50-cent pieces, but I'm not really sure what that cryptid was up to. Perhaps we'll cover her in another episode. But Eamon,
I think we should move along very quickly.
What exactly is the Fresno Nightcrawler, Evan? Because it sounds kind of like something out of the X-Men or something. But
It is. Yeah, it does, like BAMF. That was the sound Nightcrawler used to make when he teleported. Did you know that he went through an alternate dimension, which was sort of hellish? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but you do now. So, the Fresno Nightcrawlers, right? The sightings about these guys began back in the 1990s. They've only occurred a few times since then. And they were first spotted on surveillance footage more than a decade ago by a Fresno resident. Now, here's where it gets weird, right? The Fresno Nightcrawler roughly resembles a long pair of white pants with a small head.
Aladdin pants, kind of.
Kind of, yeah, very baggy, like Sabu from WCW and all that sort of stuff,
Invisible
or
Aladdin,
ECW. They're the fucking weirdest looking ones we've covered so far, to be honest.
They are. And there's some really cool video footage of these, actually, guys.
Yeah.
So if you do want to check them out, like, they're on YouTube. So Captain Disillusion has a video about him. He kind of annoys me, to be quite honest with you, but he does have a video on him, so do check that out. You probably like Captain Disillusion.
Who's Cap? I've never heard of him.
He's the lad in the video that you put in this article.
I don't know, man. See, like, when I be doing this stuff, I'm looking at the I don't have time for people. I'm looking for cryptids. Do you know what I mean? Equals Captain Disillusion, yeah. I won't lie to you, that's probably the only video of his I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, no, look, if you like him, you like him. He's a character. So, like, I'm not really into YouTubers that are, like, a character. I'm not into the Twitch guy, what's that Twitch guy? He sexually assaulted people, probably. I can't remember his name. He was sexy or something. There was something sexy about him. Maybe he didn't sexually assault anyone. He probably didn't do that.
Here, are we not in enough legal troubles right now without you fucking accusing randomers of sexual assault? Maybe he did. I don't know. Like, we have to be more careful, Robert.
Monster Fuzz Redacted Edition.
Yeah, the next one, like, it won't be like, and our Patreon is blah, blah, blah. Next one, like, we have some redactions to make this week on Monster Fuzz. You know, Jimmy Rimy is not a sexual deviant.
Yeah, I didn't mention his name, but everyone knows who I'm talking about. Super popular Twitch streamer.
I have no idea.
And he plays you don't, because you're 40 and you don't watch Twitch.
Yeah,
but he's a super popular Twitch streamer who also plays a character. So what I'm trying to say is, not hugely into character-driven personalities on the internet. I find they get old fairly quick, if you get me. You know what I mean? But yeah, he actually has a good video on this, which of course Eamon somehow doesn't know about.
I don't know about it.
But there's only a few eyewitnesses of this thing?
Yeah,
or what?
Only a few eyewitnesses. Apparently they do tend to pop up on surveillance cameras, photos. I suppose in getting into what is it that people think they are, some obviously say it might be an alien. Others say it's just a fun urban legend, an endearing addition to pop culture. Others say it's a big hoax. And to be fair, the first video from the newly discovered Captain Disillusion does look like a weird puppet thing. Some people say perhaps it's just a pair of possessed pants.
I thought, well, to be quite honest with you, and I've had fucking possessed pants a few times in my life, let me tell you.
Starch.
Well, one time I had a kebab, and the next morning I was up in Carlow, which is about an hour and a half drive from Wexford, and the lads were actually laughing as I was eating the kebab that night, because I had it, I was cradling the kebab, right, and I was basically slowly feeding it into my mouth like an anaconda.
Oh, you were just like no chewing, just straight into the. Okay.
I was just I was like, it was business. It was serious business. And that was actually the last time I ate a kebab ever, because the next day I thought I couldn't drive to Wexford. I was like, my arse is literally possessed. My pants, I won't be able to, because if I drive down, it's possible my pants will in turn become possessed, because my ass is haunted right now.
Yeah. To be fair, that is always a fearful thing when you're trying to travel from one place to another and your arse is just, it's not playing poker. Your arse is hardballing you.
I think it was, to be honest, ultimately, I think it was an unfortunate combination of kebab and anxiety diarrhea, because I was a learner driver at the time. I was quite, like, driving up and down to Carlow was quite an anxious experience for me. You know?
I see.
And I think bad hangover, kebab, and driving was a perfect storm, really, for essentially a storm on the toilet.
That'll get you. That Turkish fast food, man, you have to be careful. I think if you're not from that neck of the woods, like, you know, little pasty-skinned Irish fellas like us aren't great at metabolising that stuff.
Well, I think kebab meat might actually be the biggest cryptid of them all. Like, if you actually want to really get into it, because kebab meat is a conglomeration of different meats.
Yeah.
It's like the United Nations of meat.
Yeah, all for one and one for all.
There's 3 different types of meat in a kebab. Do you know that?
And is it just like rat, dog, and bat?
Yeah. Do you know that, like, that mystery sweaty meat that goes around?
I do.
That's actually a combination of 3 different types of meat.
In the words of Nate Diaz, I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
It's like in fucking Captain Planet, don't they put all the rings together and shit and then make something cool?
Just make a meatless substance, some sort of meatless substance.
Just mash a bunch of meats together and hope for the best. But yeah, my stomach does not like kebabs. I had to retire from that afterwards.
They're so good though, with all the fucking sauce and shit on them, man.
I was kebab champion on Wexford there in 2014. I was.
Pound for pound kebab champion, the bull ring.
I went down to Zamzam's down there. They used to tattoo people up on the counter.
Zamzam's, do you remember that?
Yeah, it's still open. That's what it's still there.
Oh, man, I used to get,
they used to tattoo lads up on the counter.
There was times in Zamzam's where I didn't think I was going to make it. Like, I'd be ordering 4 pizzas and a kebab, and they'd give you money to take it.
Yeah, I went in there one time and they were actually tattooing the meat on the fucking carousel.
Oh yeah, just what were they tattooing on it?
They're putting on like an anaconda snake like design around
snake meat.
Could have been, yeah. Maybe they were trying to just bring it back to life by tattooing.
Look, who knows? The ways of Zamzam are very strange. We'll have to do an episode on Zamzam one day.
Yeah, possibly.
The rise and fall of an empire.
Closed down about 8 times by the health inspector.
Yeah. Just any time the health inspector went in, it got closed down. Like,
it's like that. And there's another lawsuit again for us today. We're on a lawsuit, blazing trail of lawsuits.
Yeah, 3 lawsuits. 3 lawsuits, 15 minutes. That's how we roll.
Yeah, that's how we roll. So these pants were possessed, but apparently not by diarrhea, because if you look at the footage, they're quite clean.
They're very clean. So unless someone had been only eating like MSG or something, and or remember we talked about white dog shit before. If someone had been eating a lot of bones, maybe it was the calcium. So it's either white shit or it's no shit at all. That's my take. That's my hot take.
Yeah, the Fresno Nightcrawlers could be dining exclusively on bones, which is actually quite a harrowing and chilling thought, really.
That makes them a bit more scary, but they don't seem to have any mouths, so we won't worry about it too much.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, it's very upsetting. So, guys, do check out the video. It's very bizarre. It's some security camera footage in the backyard and some Aladdin pants that are tied at the end, kind of look like they're dancing around the garden. Very unlike anything we've ever seen in this podcast. It's not like, oh, it was a dog, or oh, it was a Black Panther.
What do you think? What was your first instinct when you saw the way they were walking?
Well, to be quite honest with you, and I think most people have sort of settled on it as well, as like, it's just not really well explainable other than like CG or something. It's like,
it's the worst CG like, it's definitely practical. Like, when I saw it, I was like, there's no way that's CG, because it looks it looks real. It just looks really fucking weird. Do you know what I mean? It's
like, to be honest, yeah, because like, it's probably, and as we get into the story, we'll talk a bit more about the character and the character of the viewing. It'll bring us into more, or that owns the footage. It'll bring us into more lawsuits, I'm sure. And
why stop at 3?
My dad used to be a cameraman, and to be honest, he used to get up to like crafty things like that with cameras. Like this was the 90s before, like, you know, YouTube and all, but like. He when I was a kid, like, we used to do like stop motion with little dinosaur toys and all that type of shit. But he also used to try and do shit like, he'd mess around with the camera and try and do like hoax type style stuff. Like, he'd try out things like that. So I wonder, like, was this, you know, that kind of thing, if you get me?
Yeah, it absolutely could be. Well,
but it's very hard to put out there, you know, like what it actually is very bizarre.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly is. But go on and tell us about a gentleman by the name of Victor Camacho. Is that how you'd say it?
Well, yeah, Camacho.
Comanche.
Comanche. Yeah. Chimichango. There's plenty of names for this chap, but he is a paranormal investigator, and he goes by the name of Victor Camacho if you're, I suppose, Irish and you don't have that, old El Paso twang. He analysed the original surveillance footage shortly after it was captured in 2007, so pretty recent, really. Modern. It's a modern sign. And this was by a frightened Fresnan. Camacho said he was contacted after the man brought the footage from his front lawn in South Fresno to television network Univision, looking for answers.
I want answers, god damn it!
Univision's a very interesting name as well. The video became better known in 2010 after television show Fact or Faked Paranormal Files included it in one of their episodes. The group determined the footage to be unexplainable, which is kind of where I am with it. After trying to recreate it with puppets and a child dressed in a white sheet.
As you do.
Yeah.
There's like, it's either puppets or a child in a white sheet. Nah, fuck it. I have no idea what this is.
The show called them Nightcrawlers. And actually, to go on with like children dressed and hoaxing and all that stuff, my dad did that. Like, he was taping a football match for his one of our neighbours. He was at work and he couldn't see it. So my dad dressed me and my brother up as the Irish football pundits at the time, John Giles and Eamon Dunphy. And he made a fake set. And he put us on halftime on the show because he was able to edit it with the camera, which like most people would have done direction elbow. So on this football match, like your man was sitting down to watch it going, oh, this is great. And at halftime, like me and my brother, like age 9 and fucking 6 or whatever, just pop up, wear like paddy hats and shit.
Why aren't they scoring more goals, do you think?
Yeah. So that's kind of, what, it could have been like a dad arsing around with his kids going, here, dress in this white sheet and I'll somehow doctor it to, make it look real. But, the show coined the term Nightcrawlers, I guess, Eamon, yeah?
Yeah, that's Fact or Faked Paranormal Files. There was another one called Fact or Fiction, I believe, which had number 2 from Star Trek.
Yeah.
He was like, would you believe that this is actually true? This is fact. So I don't know if I've seen Fact or Faked Paranormal Files, but
no.
I will watch it.
Yeah, we should check it out, yeah, for sure. But the Walking Crawlers continue to be celebrated. I mean, marketing the mysteriousness has included Nightcrawler pins and hand sewn Nightcrawler pillows. I've seen them before. They're kind of cool. Yeah, I've seen them on Instagram. And there's a steady stream of new Nightcrawler artwork popping up on social media. Yeah. There's a guy on Instagram. There's, on Masterful's Instagram. Woo. Yeah, there's a lot of accounts on there. and it's not people that listen to us. It's guys that at the start of the podcast I followed, like people with similar interests. So like I searched #cryptid. I followed a lot of people with that type of thing. And I found guys that like literally make their own cryptids, and they have like these like, I don't know, like it's not, I suppose like Top Trumps or like Dungeons and Dragons or Magic the Gathering. I don't know. They make monsters and they have attributes and they make the little lore behind them and they make a video and they make an image of them. Okay. And they're all kind of cryptids like this and they're actually pretty cool, to be fair. Like they're very creative.
Yeah.
I think one of the channels actually might be called Into the Void or something like that.
Right.
So shouts out to Into the Void.
Yeah, not just a movie about trying to climb Everest, eh?
No, yeah, exactly, yeah. He's going to get sued as well now on
this
What's that? Special.
We're at 5, are we?
No, we're not getting sued.
We're the other guy's getting sued.
Yeah.
Sue Chef Special, where we just fucking whip up the suings and there we go.
Yeah, there's a lad by the name of Michael Banty.
Mr. Michael Banty.
Yes.
He probably doesn't talk like that now. He's from Fresno.
No. But he's of Weird Fresno. I don't know what Weird Fresno is. I mean, what is Weird Fresno?
Weird Fresno is just like I suppose a website or community that are just talking about all the fucking weird shit that happens in Fresno.
That sounds pretty good. We should set up a Weird Wexford.
Weird Wexford, yeah. We've probably talked about a lot of the people who should be in it so far.
Capital L woman.
Linda
Forars.
Linda Forars.
David Snail.
Hornyhead Jim. There was Eyeball Paul. Who else was there?
There was a load.
Yeah. There continues to be creep. More. The Groovy Creep. And you can see even the young fellas now, you're kind of going, I think you have it in you, young lad. You're looking at him, playing guitar on the street and you're going, it's coming for you. It's coming for you.
So yeah,
Mr.
Fresno?
Michael Banty, yeah. So he said there's like a dictionary of different cryptids or strange creatures. Like you have Bigfoot, you have Chupacabra. And he says, and quite rightly, I would agree with him, there's never been this before. And no one has really been able to determine what it is. Now, Bandy goes on to say that he thinks they're kind of like fairy people, you know? Whereas Camacho, who we talked about earlier, he speculates that they could be extraterrestrial insectoids. They're about 3 feet tall. He says they resemble a praying mantis.
I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't really see that either. But, you know, I see pants.
Yeah, just pants.
Just pants.
An upside down V.
There's an upside down V. An upside down V. There's an upward pointing arrow.
What's that York used to stab people in maths class with?
The protractor.
Protractor. Could be
Oh, no,
protractor.
it wasn't the compass. Sorry, the protractor is the semicircle.
Yeah, the compass.
compass.
Maybe it's an elegant compass. Who has decided to buy some nice pants?
Yeah, a sentient compass. Sentient
Very sentient compass.
doing
Man,
geometry.
My fucking compass in secondary school killed more motherfuckers than
Fucking
William Wallace's sword. Let me tell you.
Blood-stained compass.
A device of evil doings when in the hands of the wrong
rack.
person. Yeah, literally, yeah.
But we have another Fresno resident called Matthew Jacobs. He weighed in on the Fresno Nightcrawler discussion on Twitter by saying the elusive being is just a cloth puppet on a wire. You know, maybe just a pair of pajama pants. Yeah,
I disagree with that. It doesn't from the footage. It just doesn't look like it's something on a fucking wire because the way the legs move independently, it looks like there's like
it's
something
really
in them.
yeah. It's like that's the thing. It look like it doesn't look real. That's my take. Is that it doesn't look real, but I don't know how you'd fake it.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
That's the best way to put it.
And I think
it looks otherworldly.
Yeah, it very much so does. And the sort of possible explanations, Rob, if you want to tell the people about the 5 main ones, basically, that they're given.
I've already told you the main one, and that's
of course
a compass with a pair of pants on. But
it's pants compass.
Yeah. But some of the theories include an undiscovered species, as you do, a paranormal or supernatural creature,
Obs,
extraterrestrial,
please.
A pair of white pants being puppeted.
More than likely.
Definitely not mine after a kebab.
No. Jesus. The only puppet... Did you have to throw them away, actually? Did you just have to get rid of those pants?
Yeah. I when I got home, I was taking a shite. Like, I got... Obviously, as you do, you go on the toilet, like...
Yeah, no, that's the best place for it, alright.
And I looked down and I seen a few skiddies in the pants and I said, right.
Yeah. Oh, really? Did you have a few skiddies in the pants?
Yeah. Do you know what I did, actually? I just took them off and flushed them.
You flushed your underwear?
Yeah, well, they were full of sins. You know,
no, I know. I understand that. I don't... Yeah, that's true. If you put them in the bin, then just be honking and you're mad. What's the smell there, eh?
I'm sure God knows what you'd be unleashing on the world if you put that yoke in a bin. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're talking about pants that are possessed here.
I think there was one time that I was going to a friend's house or something, and I did a fart, and it sort of it followed through a little bit. Nothing too serious now.
Right,
Nothing too serious.
A pellet.
Well, like, it was more of a, what would you say? It was more like liquid curry sauce, but we captured it with the jocks, thankfully. And obviously, when I came, it was like, oh, I need to go to the toilet quite desperately.
Better not have been my house.
No, it wasn't your house. It wasn't your house. But what I did was I took them off, and I said, that's game, set, and match. I think I was like, I just have to pop out for 2 seconds there. There was a bin nearby, an outdoor bin nearby, soiled underwear into the bin, back into the gaff, commando for the rest of the day, leather cock, and everything was fine. Everything was fine. It ended well.
Commando is good, like, to be fair.
Commando's not too bad. Let me ask you this. Would you sleep naked or would you wear clothes?
I think we've sort of talked about this a little bit before, but yeah, I do. Sometimes I used to sleep nude, like.
I just wanted to talk to you about it again.
To be honest, that's kind of what I thought was happening.
Just wanted to hear you say it again.
No. I used to, but it's a bit adventurous when you're living back at home, like, you know what I mean? The lot of me get me ma fucking toss me twig berries, like,
Well,
you know?
yeah, I did it last night for the first time in a long time. I just said,
That's
fuck
a
it,
liberating experience.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it every night now. It's getting cold, you know? It's getting cold.
It's kind of nice when you're cold, though. It kind of feels like, yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, if you have trouble sleeping, it's a good idea to take a lukewarm shower before you go to bed. It cools the body temperature and makes you sleep more easily.
Also, if you have rheumatoid arthritis, it's good to take a shower before bed as well.
Yeah, it's good to just take showers in general, just to keep yourself not stanking.
Yeah, because my gran, you see, she has rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm trying to tell her, like, every fucking night, she's like, oh, didn't sleep last night. And I'm like, well, did you have a shower before bed? No. I'm like, well, there you go. And, like, of course, because I'm a nice dude, you know, I'm a problem solver, and, you know, I like to get to the bottom of these problems. And
you're not a problem maker in my eyes.
No. Unless it's lawsuits for our part.
Oh yeah, we're in deep water here. We're in deep water.
But I looked it up, and apparently, it's quite common if you have rheumatoid arthritis, you can't sleep. And one of the best solutions is to have a shower, because apparently, lack of sleep hurts you with rheumatoid arthritis, because it actually makes your pain perception worse.
Yeah, everything's a bit more acute when you haven't slept, isn't it? Like, everything is just a bit more fucking ugh.
Yeah, so my nanny's going around the garden like a fucking Fresno Nightcrawler train in the morning because she can't sleep, and I'm trying to say to her, like, here, have a shower, go to, you know, warm up before you go to bed. So so there you go, folks. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, or if you have a loved one who has rheumatoid arthritis, you've just got some medical advice from Rob again.
Yeah, I don't want to be insensitive, but I would love it if it turned out that the Nightcrawler was actually just your nanny. Just she went to Fresno once and just wandering around the place.
I'm telling you, man. I no joke. So just to give the listeners a bit of a backstory about my gran. So like my cousin, who again we often mention on this podcast, is friends with me and Eamon, and we'd often spend many a night up in my gran's house because my cousin lived up there. So my gran would fucking wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning, like, and she, like, you'd be walking down the fucking hall, and next thing you see this fucking Fresno Nightcrawler in a gown going like, oh, I just made just tea and fucking Twixes. And like, I saw them be praying at about 3 in the morning going, Lord Jesus, what's going on here? But no, she's a funny cat, my gran. She's actually hilarious. I might get her on some like Patreon.
Oh yeah, wow.
Granny vlog or something.
Jesus.
It'll be absolutely gas. Sometimes on my personal Instagram, I people fucking love it. They're always messaging me. I'll quote things that my granddad says. He says absolutely, like, my granddad's got, like, there's one day he opened up the newspaper and he was like, it was the local paper, and he goes, the obituaries. Let me see if I'm in it. If not, I'll continue about my day. I was like, all right.
Frank's a character.
Yeah, they're both characters, so you might get some exclusive DLC of the grandparents at some point. But anyway, I mean, so the Nightcrawlers are, so I suppose what you would call a recent cryptid, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Your man Banty, he's undecided on the validity. Right. He said his gut, my heart's telling me yes, but my body, no, sorry. My head's telling me no, but my body, it's telling me yes. Oh. I don't see nothing wrong. You know?
Is that R. Kelly?
I have no idea. I don't think it is. I don't know who it is.
Well, I hope it's not R. Kelly, because then there's another lawsuit.
No, because if it was R. Kelly, I'd be like, is you tweaking?
Milton.
Remember the time that we went to climb Snowdon and we just walked around in the rain for about 4 hours, and the only thing that got us through it was singing R. Kelly to each other? This is before he was caught pissing on children and everything. This is well before that.
Yeah. Funnily enough, we also got pissed on by R. Kelly though, because it was raining so bad. But it was fun, man, because that was when Real Talk was the shit. Like, Real Talk was, you can't watch Real Talk anymore for a good reason. Like, obviously, I don't want to watch Real Talk anymore. But
look, man, I understand that the fella's done some pretty heinous things, but I still want to watch Real Talk, if I'm being honest.
It's a fucking tricky thing, to be quite right. Here's the thing, like, I love a bit of fucking Michael Jackson, but I can't listen to the cunt anymore.
I know, because you can't fucking get your head. You're like, that shit he did though is kind of.
Because like, and I legitimately am a fan of Michael Jackson.
Everybody's a fan of Michael Jackson. Yeah. Michael Jackson's like, those pop songs are unbelievable.
But like, I can't fucking, like, it was grand. I pushed the Martin Bashir documentary to the back of my mind, where he's Green giant. Ho, ho, ho. And he's up in the tree and I go, look, I'm up in the tree, Martin.
I'm on a scooter.
I'm on a scooter, Martin.
I'll be on a cereal box.
Oh, Macaulay Culkin. I put that in the back of my mind. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Right. And then this other fucking one came out. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, lads, I'm just trying to listen to a bit of fucking, human nature or some shit.
It's definitely a bit tricky. I mean, the one thing I will say is I've never had anyone be like, oh yeah, what Jimmy Savile did was pretty bad, but like, I still like watching Jim will Fix It the odd time, few reruns.
Jim will Fix It was shite, man.
I never saw, man. I didn't.
Yeah, I know, but
I even live in the Ewok village, so
yeah, no. Jim will Fix It was just him going around to fucking potential victims and like giving them a fucking Twix and a fucking etch a sketch and going, there you go, and that was it. Now
that's pretty great.
The worst blow for me would be, and fucking Jesus, entirely possible, is if Led Zeppelin would get done.
They're not on the right side of history.
I'm throwing myself,
They're not on the right side of
on the
history.
bridge if Led Zeppelin get done. I just swear to fucking God, I'm gone.
But sure, they were all going out with teenagers and all that, weren't they?
We're not getting. Yeah, well, look, sure. It's funny because we watched me and the missus. We watched Almost Famous the other day, and actually, quite funnily, Bobby Lee in the Theo Von episode, I think it is. I listened to Bobby Lee and Theo Von podcast. Really funny, guys. If you haven't listened to it, check it out. Bobby Lee talks about Almost Famous, and he's like, "Oh, it's kind of fucked up, that film, because they're talking about like rock stars going off with teenagers, and it's just like uncomfortable." But I think the point he missed about Almost Famous is the rock stars aren't supposed to be the heroes of that story. They're supposed to be like the main characters that you're looking at kind of like shittily. They're not supposed to be looked at like in the way that they were looked at the time. They're supposed to be looked at as like bad role models and not really what people thought they were at the time. Yeah. But yeah, it's Led Zeppelin are going to get done for me. I'm off the bridge after that. And
don't do that. Just like we'll get you some help, you'll be fine.
So I'm gone if I don't have Led Zeppelin.
No, don't do that. No, you can still listen to Led Zeppelin.
I can't. It's ruined.
No, you can. You can.
So you can't. I can't listen to R. Kelly anymore because I just see, I have bad visions in my head of R. Kelly.
What was the thing that was it Dave Chappelle said? At a certain age, you know to get out of the way of piss.
Fuck's sake.
It's ridiculous, hilarious.
That's funny.
But look, we're talking about the Fresno Nightcrawlers.
Yeah.
We're talking about 2007.
Yeah,
is when it all happened. So tell us a little bit more about your man Jose, who gave this first footage.
Classic Jose.
Yeah.
A homeowner in Fresno, California decided to set up a security camera above a family garage, as you do. Uh-huh. The man, only known as Jose, is very mysterious. He wanted to know why his dogs barked at night, which again is quite a natural response to things. But sometimes dogs just bark because they're fucking pain in the hole.
The dogs up here in Cabra, it's like a fucking symphony. One starts up and is like, arr, and then the other's like, arr. To be honest with you, sometimes I can't sleep, so I just stick my head out the window and join them. Like, fuck it.
My dog barks, and for no reason. She's just a pain in the hole. She's just like, I want to be a pain in the hole now, so I'm going to bark. And you're like, all right, grand. That's fine. Yeah. So yeah, he set the cameras up to see why the dogs were being a pain in the hole, which is very responsible of him, to be fair. And what he saw the next day was enough to shock him into calling the police.
999.
The footage showed a pair of strange small creatures, only a few feet in height. They walked almost surreally across the screen, and the family members figured it was these things that had caused their dogs to bark so much. Neither the family nor the police could figure out what these creatures were. Soon the media got a hold of the footage, and the Fresno Nightcrawlers became a phenomenon. The family decided to remain anonymous, in part to avoid the supernatural spotlight, but in part also out of fear. Should be mentioned here, Eamon.
Yes.
In the Captain Disillusion video that you didn't watch.
Nah.
He does mention that apparently Jose was like trying actively to send the footage to news companies.
So Jose was acting the maggot.
Yeah, so apparently that could be conjecture. Mm-hmm. We don't have this is what one person is saying, and this is what we're saying, and whatever Jose is saying is a different thing.
We have two people, and they're saying different things here, so you decide. Say what, if you're listening to a fucking podcast about monsters and shit and cryptids, probably better off to believe the one that's more fun, which is that he was actually afraid and he wasn't trying to become famous out of it.
Yeah, no, of course. Of course, why would he do that? That's stupid.
That's ridiculous. That would never happen.
Yeah, so Camacho said Jose had since died.
Jose's dead now. See, it wasn't what was the point? He's dead. He's dead.
Yeah, he's dead now. He knew at the time he was dying, so he had nothing to gain by doing this. And was initially filmed talking about it without showing his face because he was so scared. Scared. Again, was he afraid of showing his face because he was talking brown? He didn't want to. Maybe he was laughing.
But to
under
be fair,
his mustache.
you wouldn't be. There could be that Super Mario mustache, but like also if like you wouldn't. Well, no. If you did send it to loads of places and then pretend to be scared, maybe they should have done like some sort of like we saw in the Kentucky Goblins, where your man had a high heart rate of 140. Maybe they should have done that with Jose, just to say, is it real fear or is it fake fear?
Yeah. Well, this is it. Hysteria, I believe. So yeah, he stayed at home for weeks.
Yeah.
He was really shitting his cacks, you know.
Yeah,
really
probably
scared.
a similar situation to you and the kebab.
Yeah, well, there's been time. Well, put it this way: when you're sitting on the toilet after a fucking kebab, you do feel like you're going to be there for weeks. Put it that way. So, Eamon, what was Jacob's pointing to the video? What was the crack with that?
Yeah. So, he pointed to a video debunking the Nightcrawler case.
Right.
Before talking about its sort of enduring legacy and how it's managed to stuck around. So he says, I love a good urban legend, ghost story, or a bit of lore just for the entertainment.
Sure, a bit of lore is great.
A bit of lore is grand. There's a
Frog
podcast
Prince.
called Lore. Very good.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Frog Prince podcast.
Frog Prince? No.
I've never heard the lore of the Frog Prince.
Never heard of Lord of the Frog Prince. Is he...
Read a book.
He's the Lord of the Frog Prince, so he's the Frog Prince's dad? Is that how it works?
Just go and read a book, Eamon.
What book?
Come on now. The lore book. Aesop's Fables.
Oh, Aesop's Fables. I can't remember the Lord. Who's Lord of the Frog Prince? I don't remember that.
Reread it, man. You've got gaps in your brain.
I only remember Aesop's Fables, the fella who used to fucking blow hot and cold, and then the demon didn't want to hang around with someone who would blow hot and cold.
I suppose you forgot about the lion with the fucking thorn in his paw and the shrew had to go.
Yeah, I remember that shit.
No,
but then that's bullshit. That's bullshit. If a shrew would be killed, the lion would just kill it after it did that. Aesop was full of shit. Aesop's Fables.
There was the other tale of remember the frog that was crossing the river with the alligator?
Yeah.
And the frog comes up to the river and he's like to the alligator, hey man, can I go across the river?
It's in my nature.
Yeah.
Isn't there one that was a scorpion and a frog? It wasn't
that was the story. Yeah, it was a scorpion, but also an alligator. But yeah, that was what happened. He got to the river and he said, it's in my nature. And then the frog went, all right, okay, cheers, and turned around.
I thought it was that the scorpion got in the frog's back and the frog said, don't sting me. But then the frog... Listen, man, if you're going to be fucking lecturing people on reading Aesop's Fables and then getting it wrong...
Doesn't work.
Does what
both
work?
ways.
Not really, because in one the frog turns around and he doesn't go, the other one, the scorpion, does sting the frog.
A frog
They're
can't
different
swim
stories,
in
man.
Deep waters, Eamon.
Yeah, but the scorpion got on the frog's back. You see,
and the frog got on the alligator's back, and he goes, "Can you bring me across? Because I'm not a strong swimmer."
That's not no.
And the alligator goes, "Yeah, okay, I'll bring you over, man." That's grand. And he goes, are you sure you're a crocodile or an alligator or whatever? I'm afraid you might eat me. And he's like, nah, that's grand. I just had a Twix. And I was, all right, okay. He jumps on his back. He gets across the river.
Are we sponsored by Twix now?
and then the alligator eats him mid-fucking thing. And that's what happens.
But the scorpion stings him before he gets across the river because it's in his nature. He can't, like, that's the thing is that the alligator eats him because he wants to be fed, right? But the scorpion stings him and dies himself. Like, that was the nature thing. So that's why it's different.
Oh, so it's not in the alligator's nature to eat a fucking frog?
No, but not if it's going to kill him. Like, that was why the scorpion thing was there. That the fable was that people will do things that kill them if it's in their nature. They'll go against themselves.
No. The overall lesson here is that...
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
No, because ultimately the lesson learned is the same lesson.
The lesson... don't trust people. But it's also that mutual, like... The scorpion kills itself as well. Like, that's the thing. The alligator's not doing itself a disservice by killing the frog. So it's like, it's almost saying,
what if it was
like,
a poison dart frog and the crocodile died as well, the alligator died?
Yeah, but see, I don't think we could just say what if it, like, because the fable is the scorpion and the frog.
No, it's the scorpion and the crocodile.
Agree to disagree.
I'm telling you search up scorpion and frog, frog and alligator.
Look, man,
And that's
all I know is that I've never asked anyone to bring me across a river. That's all I know, and I'm never going to do it.
I can't swim, so that resonates with me a lot, actually.
So, like, if I needed to bring you across a river and you had to hold on to me while I swam across, should I not trust you?
Emin.
Oh my God.
Emin. The frog and the crocodile. Here, listen up. Just
I'm not. Don't think that I'm not going to go look up the scorpion and the crocodile now.
Listen here now.
No.
Listen here, this is a Monster Fuzz exclusive. Monster Fuzz mixtape. Once, there was a frog who lived in the middle of a swamp. His entire family had lived in that swamp for generations. But this particular frog decided that he had quite enough wetness to last him a lifetime. He decided that he was going to find a dry place to live instead. This tale is turning out differently.
See?
The only thing that separated him, from the dry land was a swampy, muddy, swiftly flowing river. But the river was home to all sorts of slippery, slittering snakes that loved nothing better than a good plump frog for dinner. So Frog didn't dare to try to swim across. So for many days, the frog stayed put, hopping along the bank, trying to think of a way to get across. The snake hissed and jeered at him, daring him to come closer, but he refused.
You need to speed this up because I have one about the scorpion here as well.
Okay, blah, 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 blah. Right, so he felt certain there would be a bridge, blah, blah, blah. He found a bridge. Then the frog sighed in frustration and sulked in the rushes. Suddenly he spotted two big eyes staring at him from the water. The giant log-shaped animal opened his mouth and asked him, "What are you doing, frog?" "Surely there are enough flies right there for a meal." The frog croaked in surprise and leaped away from the crocodile. That creature would swallow him all.
Fucking essays, Billington.
Okay, right, so...
Anyway. Right, okay, so you've made your point. That one was the frog and the crocodile, right?
Yeah.
So I'll have to redact a small bit. It was the scorpion and the crocodile, but switch crocodile with frog, and it's the same story saying, right?
So
mine's
I'm
much more
right
to the point.
Than you are right.
And yet, right? Once upon a time, a scorpion wanted to cross a river. We all know scorpions can't swim and will drown in water. We do know that. A lazy crocodile was surfing along the riverbank. The scorpion called to the crocodile, "Hey, give me a lift across the river." "No way," replied the wise crocodile. "Why?" asked the scorpion. Well, everyone knows scorpions skill sting people, and it's poisonous. Wait, shot back crocodile. I didn't fall asleep that quick on you, cop on. He said, "Oh, no," said the scorpion, who was anxious to cross the river. "Everybody knows that scorpions are afraid of water, and we cannot swim, and we will drown. Why would I do such a stupid thing?" The crocodile thinks. And then he goes, and then the crocodile says, "He's going to die if he stings me." So he asked the scorpion to hop on his back. Halfway across the river, the crocodile felt the deadly painful sting from the scorpion. His last words were, "Why did you do that? Now we're both going to die." And the scorpion says, "Sorry, I couldn't help it. I'm a scorpion."
He should have read the story about the crocodile and the frog then. Maybe he would have heard better before he crossed.
Oh.
They're making up fucking stories and shit.
No, that's not stories.
Emin has a master's in creative writing, so he was writing all the time I was reading there. He was fucking...
I actually wrote my own story, and people are like, it is a better story if the scorpion dies too. They're like, it's a better story. It is a better story if the scorpion dies.
Eamon was on his fucking...
No, but come on now.
Fucking shit.
The typing champion.
In my story, it was a poisoned dart frog and they both die as well.
No, no. In your story... No, stop it now. You said the crocodile brings him across the water and then the crocodile eats him. I told you the whole time the scorpion killed the thing that brought him across.
No. The important lesson is, right, Eamon, that our souls will get ahead if you let them.
No, that's not the lesson.
They'll survive.
The lesson is
it's
that people will. It's like ripping off your nose to spite your face. It's the same story.
Eamon,
no,
I'm writing this one.
This is you're not right. Right, listener vote. You're gonna have to vote on which one is right because I'm exhausted. Oh, Jesus, I'm exhausted.
Classic story though.
It's a good story. It's Aesop was a good lad. Terrible fucking heroin problem. Now there's reports of sightings outside the area as far away as Poland.
Oh Jesus!
So there you go. Now,
Rob,
Tell us
Yes.
tell us what these things, could they be aliens?
Well, it can only be aliens, I suppose, really.
Aliens.
Yeah. So, neutrinos, warp speed, teleportation. It must be aliens.
Mm-hmm.
One of the prevailing theories about these creatures is that they are indeed aliens. They may move like people sometimes, but
I don't know what I'm laughing at. I'm fucking exhausted after that last conversation. And for ladies and gentlemen who don't know, like, we recorded what? Like, is this our third hour? We're 3 or 4 hours in because we did a
lengthy one with
previous
Tom. Tom is powerful, so he's
Powerful
a
Tom,
man.
yeah, true.
Yeah. So we put in work with Tom, and here we are. Yeah, we got sued. We got sued in the middle.
Yeah,
of the
we got
podcast.
sued between episodes. How fucked up is that? Like,
Redditors question why they are here. That's what Redditors do.
oh yeah, fucking get a job.
They're all about the questions unless
all
it's
about
someone
the
sticking
questions.
fingers up her fanny. They love that though. But if it's Redditors all think, oh, I'm super intellectual, but then like it's the fucking filthiest place in the world for pornos. They're not fucking questioning that. Tell you that.
Yeah, fucking get it together, Reddit.
Yeah, if someone's pulling the gowl out of herself, they'll nothing to say about that. They love that. But one thing I will say, like, people are wondering if it's an alien or, you know, if it's an alien here to study human life. What are you laughing at?
Just the way this episode is going. Just the way. I'm after calling your man a cunt. You're talking about young ones pulling the gowl out of themselves and Redditors being fucking fake ass bitches like, we're gone down the bad place.
It's a most wild episode. We're in deep waters here, Edmund. But we're treading them. One thing I will say about the Fresno Nightcrawlers, which have been discussed probably about 10% of this episode, by the way, is like an hour and a half, and it's like, we have like, a bit. The Fresno Nightcrawlers, they do look extraterrestrial, and they do look like they might live in the atmosphere of Jupiter, but they also do look like they could be something. Think about it, Evan. What if these pants are like... Remember when we were talking about in one of our mini-fuzzes about how they had like a Teflon coating over the balloons they used to send to Jupiter? I wonder, are these some types of like alien Teflon pants?
They've mated with the Teflon and created some kind of...
No. It's just alien technology that they use
I get you.
Live, like, to survive in our atmosphere.
So these could be little, like, little space, like, hazmat suits. And
what if it's cotton is their fucking hazmat suit, man? What if cotton keeps them alive?
That's interesting.
Maybe they're inside the cotton, like, and cotton it's the only thing on their planet that they can harvest that brings them to this fucking planet.
Maybe they're actually here to harvest cotton.
Egyptian cotton.
Egyptian, of course.
Yes,
Madness.
indeed. They should get them some, like, because they do kind of look like them in some of the footage. They look like them, like, North Face or Supreme luminous pants. Like, so maybe it's like some lad going around in a pair of them. But Eamon, our good friend Running Water.
Running Water.
Yeah, he wasn't Comanche, was he? Running Water. He was.
I believe you made him up. I mean, sorry, a poem.
Maybe.
There was a poem about running water.
Yeah, I didn't make it up.
No, obviously.
But he said that these are native creatures again.
That's what running water's going for. Yeah, you see this picture? See the wooden yoke?
We have a picture of what looks like the Fresno Nightcrawlers, except a wooden edition. Indeed.
Yeah. So, one of the more interesting answers to all these questions is that it might actually be to do with Native American legends. According to tribe members that live near Fresco, the Nightcrawlers are beings...
Fresno. Not Fresco.
What?
You said Fresco.
No, I said Fresno.
No, you said Fresco.
I didn't, man. Al Fresco, I'd love it. I might make an old bowl of pasta after this. Like, it's nearly midnight, but sure, look. I'll leave a bit of Fresco. For Al Fresco in Fresno. When we
you definitely said Fresco.
Man, I'm delirious. Like, I'm so tired.
Come on now, get through it before.
Anyway, Fresno. So according to the tribe members that live near Fresno, the Nightcrawlers are beings that have always lived on Earth before human beings got here. When did we get here? I don't know. When did we get to Earth, Rob? That sounds wrong.
When we came from Mars, of course.
Ah, yeah. So according to those myths, the Nightcrawlers have long legs that allow them to move through difficult or boggy landscapes because they are swamp world beings.
I mean, it makes sense.
I mean, I'm behind it.
Yeah.
It's definitely the most logical thing I've heard so far. Mm-hmm. The legend goes on to say that they're a part of our world now, and they're trying to rebuild a connection between human beings and the natural surroundings as a kind of a peace bringer. While they don't seem to have made any noticeable efforts of doing this so far, it's very interesting that these stories have existed for generations, and maybe they're nothing new to Fresno.
Yeah, well, everything seems to go back to the natives, really. Like, it's quite crazy. So maybe, man, look, maybe North America, you have to think, that would have been like the fucking Garden of Eden when the natives, like the original Asian people, arrived over land bridge to North America. You're talking about a fucking vast, it's like a fucking new Minecraft world. You set up a new seed and you've got everything there. Do you know what I mean? Everything's at your disposal.
It's interesting, man. It's interesting.
Yeah. So God knows what was there, Maybe there was some fucking bananas shit there, like, There are loads of photos depicting statues that looked like the creatures that popped up online. They're carved in wood and, maybe of native origin, perhaps depicting the swamp beings. What's more is that they seem to be photographed in multiple places, perhaps even internationally. Unfortunately, no one seems to know where these statues that were photographed are located. Right, that's unusual, Eamon. That's very unusual.
Yeah, but we see, like, the photos they're not photoshopped. They look real.
Yeah, no, for sure. The photos themselves were passed to a source in Florida by a woman in New Jersey. There are rumours the statues are near a DMV somewhere in California.
No.
It's like down a back alley somewhere, like, just like there. You're like there's some homeless lad sleeping under it. You're like, all right, okay, cool. Cheers for that. It is still unknown where the statues are, who made them, and if they have any connection to the Nightcrawlers. Very interesting. Another video there to check out as well for you guys.
Yeah.
What's going on in March of 2011?
This video is shot at Yosemite National Park. So, as the rumours go, park officials were putting up cameras in an attempt to catch trespassers that have been damaging the property. Now, instead, what they catch is some weird footage, again, of the pale, small, and armless creatures just walking down one of the park paths. So there's two creatures they see this time. Again, once the media gets a hold of the footage, the Nightcrawlers are on everyone's lips again. The creatures appear to be the same as the ones that showed up in the original Fresno film. And they appeared to walk and behave in the same way. There's a handful of alleged sightings, but neither Yosemite or Fresno had them show up on any more security footage. So they're the only two, or the two mainstream kind of.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're good.
They're good videos.
So, here's the really interesting thing. So, if you isolate one of them, right, you can go, oh, it was a guy fucking around. But you can't recreate it, right? You don't know how. People have tried to recreate it. You don't really have an idea. Now, 2 accounts have recreated it. So, and apparently there's been no information about how they were recreated put out there. So, there's at least 2 people that have been able to, assuming it's fake, to use this technique. And if you look at the footage really quickly, you might think it's 2 people walking at first. Like, that's kind of what it looks like. You're like, oh, maybe like they're wearing like a black upper like half and their legs are like reflective pants or something, because that's kind of what it looks like. But then it doesn't look like that anymore after a while, if you get me.
Yeah. Do you know what the thing that it most looks like that I've seen people do is you ever see people when they put on a hoodie but they put their legs and arms into the sleeves?
Yeah.
That's the thing it most looks like. But again, those things, like, these walk differently, and you can see the joints. You don't see the joint. Like, you can't bend your elbow forwards to walk like that.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No. And the legs kind of flap kind of in a way that just wouldn't be possible if you had your like arms crammed down into them, you know what I'm saying?
And also you'd have to be like 3 feet up, so to be, I don't know, and the way...
I could probably do it.
You could probably do it,
like it.
It's just loads of tall fuckers doing hoaxes or whatever.
But like my back would be gone if I tried to do that shit.
Well, that's it, and the fact that the head is still on top, you know? But yeah, it's definitely a weird one, like... I know the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah. There it is. Fact or Faked, as we talked about before. But they kind of said that, you know, they're not able to find the Nightcrawlers. They go looking. Right. But as we were saying, no way that they can get it together. And I was kind of thinking myself, definitely those knee joints. Like, you can see the knee joints move, but how far would the knee joint have to be if you were dressed up? Like, if you're only 3 feet tall, your knee joint is about, I don't know, let's say a foot. It's more than a foot. It's probably a foot and a half.
Yeah,
more than that
point. Well, your femur is your longest bone in your body, so it actually would be a bit under half. Your knee would.
Yeah, so it's probably what, like about it's probably about 2 feet.
If you have a 3 foot leg, your knee is probably
a foot and a half or
1.3, 1.4.
Yeah,
of that.
So it doesn't really add up because they're down further than that. Now, here's the thing that I started thinking, right? Thinking.
Eamon's thinking.
I know it's dangerous and it hurts a lot, but do they have Mickeys, right? All right. Now, if they do have Mickeys, it's in that little head part that's up, sort of where the legs meet.
Yes.
Rob, have we just proved the existence of the sentient Mickey?
Well, actually, probably the most likely candidate for a sentient Mickey, right?
So far, man, I don't think we're dealing with Nightcrawlers here. I think we may have created the sentient Mickey. Everyone thinks like, oh no, I heard about Fresno Nightcrawlers way before the podcast. We might have created a tulpa. We might have created the sentient Mickey.
Maybe we did, and we willed it into existence through a time warp, obviously, because the first one was seen in 2007. So
aliens.
Somehow we all managed to do that. But one thing the viewers seem to agree on about this is, like, regardless of what anyone says that they are, is the creatures what they look like. They seem to have bodies that are up to 4 feet in height, but no taller. One might have been less than 2 feet tall. Because, sometimes there's like little small ones, it looks like.
Yeah.
The Nightcrawlers don't seem to have arms, and their heads are small compared to the rest of their bodies.
Mickeys.
Mickey. So just think of an upside down V if you want to get an image of it. Like, but obviously
with a package v. at the meeting point.
Yeah. The Nightcrawlers, they're also pale in colour. Yeah, you could say perhaps white. And they may have 2 small eyes, which people have found after some footage analysis. Above all, they are bipedal, which indicates that for all their strangeness, they are humanoid. I mean, just because they're bipedal, I don't think they're really.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's they're not very human. Like a dog is more human looking than these fucking things. To be honest with you, this has led to the suggestion that they may just be people in costumes, based on the fact that they walk like humans. Like, I don't necessarily think they walk like humans either.
No, I definitely have never seen a human walk like that before.
Even like if you try to walk in that weird way, it's very weird.
Whisper through the treetops.
They may also be some sort of mutant human, according to others. But again, don't really see that either. But their height and mannerisms contradict that notion, yet again leaving wonders to wonder about the origins of Nightcrawlers. Yeah, so what's the crack with the Yosemite Park video?
After the Yosemite Park video, basically not really much coming out of them. No more security takes, no more encounters. Well, maybe there are some encounters since then, but nothing that's kind of gotten to the mainstream. So they're pretty weird, but they do appear to be harmless, never damage anything, they don't hurt anyone. They don't really seem to be interested in making human contact. There's no like close encounters or abductions or anything like that. No one in Fresno has ever reported having any close encounters with them. But, you know, people might say they got a glimpse here and there. One of the interesting parts is that they don't seem to have ever been filmed alone. So most times when you have a cryptid being sighted, it's always a lone creature, you know? You see one Bigfoot. The Dover Demon was by itself. The Beast of Bray Road was by itself. In fact, I can't really think of a cryptid we've covered so far. I could be wrong, but most of them are solitary creatures, right?
For sure.
But you always have these guys in twos, you know?
Yeah.
And as we were saying, there's one that could be as high as 4 feet, one that might be 2 feet. So one is always smaller than the other. So maybe there's one that's like a child, or maybe there's a gender difference. It's very hard to know, but it seems that they've, you know, we've seen this basically. If you look at either of those videos from 2011 or 2007, you will see two Nightcrawlers.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of pairs, there's something else rather odd that has been observed with the Nightcrawlers. They may be wearing clothing, like
as
we
we talked
discussed
about before, yeah.
Yeah, in both videos, the creatures move as if they are walking humanoids, but the area around the legs flap as if encased in some form of fabric. In fact, many people have said they look like a pair of pants, and this is like what I said. If us as an alien race traveling to Jupiter, and we're an alien race on Jupiter, we have to use a Teflon balloon, which is what they send up there.
Yeah,
is
so
it
they
possible
use cotton,
that? Yeah, or something that appears like that as a covering to survive our atmosphere. Look, it's possible, but it's also not only brought up the idea that there may be some form of puppet encased in a pair of pants, but they also they may not be living creatures. Like they might be like ghosts, spooky sheath, the classic sheath ghost, I believe.
It's a good riff on the sheath ghost, right?
Where the fuck did the sheath ghost? That has to be an episode that we may do. Like, where the fuck did that notion come from? It definitely was from like some old shitty 50s film or something, like 30s film or something.
Jeez, I'd say it's even open. I'd say that's like Victorian and shit. That's like early 19th century, yeah.
Yeah, we must get to the bottom of that one. That's definitely one for a future episode. Because we haven't done a ghost episode either. Like, just a general, this is a ghost. Like, get to the origins of a ghost and the spirits.
The only one we did was really, or the closest one we did was probably the Shadow Man, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing ghost episodes, like tales and different, I suppose, spirits and entities that appear ghostly. But like we've never done like what is the traditional ghost, where it came to be, the first tale. So that's definitely a good shout actually for a future episode. Both Yosemite and Fresno have been home to fascinating and horrific deaths, and have plenty of creepy ghost stories floating around because only humans are known to wear clothing. Some speculate the footage could be showing wayward spirits. So is it possible, Eamon, that Yosemite is just like the safe landing spot that these aliens have discovered? I think like the Mars rover has a safe spot, like the NASA knows the good area to land successfully. Is it possible that our pajama pant alien found Fresno?
It could be, yeah. Maybe like they're scoping out the place. Like we talked about alien GPS before, didn't we? I think when Keane was on.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe these are some sort of robots. They do move kind of robotically, to be fair. And like whatever way they're made, maybe it's a like biological kind of material that looks like cloth, and they're actually just going around the place and like tracking, you know.
Well, it could be like tarp covering them, you know, like to protect them from dust or whatever. You never know. Like, have there been other accounts of Nightcrawlers, Eamon?
Yeah, now this is kind of weird. So there's one in Indiana, in Manchester, Indiana. So this place has a lot of paranormal stuff going around. But in 2004, a 17-year-old motorist allegedly saw a strange thing on the side of the road when driving at night. So they described it as being thin with long legs. It looked sort of vaguely humanoid without being human, if that makes sense.
Right.
And it moved oddly in a disjointed kind of a way. So people kind of made the connection there between the Nightcrawlers. But the major difference was as this one was over 6 feet tall.
Right.
And a second car apparently passed the figure as well, with two elderly passengers who also saw the being.
Right.
And they conferred with the other motorists, and all three of them basically agree, you know, that first of all, that they had seen something.
Okay.
And second of all, that what they saw wasn't human. So they drove together out of the area, rattled, I would imagine. So, I mean, hard to know if that's the same thing that we've seen on video in Fresno. But, yeah, it looks like they're not just, it looks like they're in Fresno. They're in this place in Indiana. They're in Yosemite. You know, maybe they're spreading. Maybe there's more being dispatched to do whatever work they're doing.
Yeah, man. It's cool footage. It's fun to watch. It's fun to talk about. There's also fun footage that I seen yesterday of that pterosaur flying.
Yeah, I saw that guy in a suit.
It's fun, man.
It is fun. It's an interesting one. Like I mean, How?
As I say to people, right, and this, I'll put this on this podcast when you're watching any footage. Look, and I believe most of the shit is horseshit anyway. So I just want to get that. I want to get that across before
We've just lost so many listeners.
So you don't think that I'm like fucking. I want to believe, you know. If you were to see something like a real life pterosaur on film, like let's just say hypothetically a pterosaur survived through all the improbabilities of that actually happening, through all the ice ages, the climate changes, the oxygen levels in the atmosphere changing, all of these improbabilities. If one survived, right, and we seen it, it is 100% possible that all of its movements and all of its behaviours would appear alien to us because we have never seen anything like it.
True.
And people say, oh, it'd be like a bird. Well, a pterosaur is not a bird. A pterosaur is actually less related to birds than a dinosaur.
Yeah.
So a T-Rex is closer related to a bird than a flying pterosaur, like a pteranodon or a pterodactyl. So, yeah, I mean, does it move like a bird? Maybe. Does it move like a bat? Maybe. Like, do we fucking know? Like, cause in this video, this pterosaur does like a weird little head dunk type of maneuver, and that sort of really tells you, okay, this is a pterosaur. It's not a bird. Gianni was fucking huffing Jenkins saying it was an albatross or something. I said, then I know albatross, Gianni. Come on. So I don't know. So what I'm trying to say is, if we've seen something that we had never seen before, obviously it's going to be a bit of a head fuck and it's not going to look like anything that we currently know. Like, it kind of sounds obvious, but yeah, it's going to it might throw us for a loop and it might look fake, you know?
Yeah, I mean, potentially. I suppose we always think of the animals that we have seen.
Yeah.
And now, to be fair, most things, you know, they look real. They look biological. But again, I've never seen a dinosaur, so I have no idea how they would move. You know,
well, like, I mean, man, they do and they don't. Like, I mean, they do, but like, if you see some creatures that you're not really that familiar with, like, even like, say if you piss off a spider, like the way a spider moves is not really the way it moves day to day versus when it's pissed off, are two very different.
That's
movements,
true, yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Or like, and like, to get more obscure, like animals in the jungle, like fucking weird ass birds.
I was going to say, even think of a stick insect.
Yeah,
like if you'd never seen something like that before, you'd be like, huh? Yeah.
Even cats and dogs can act really weird sometimes, you know, like when they get their haunches up and all that shit, you know.
That's true, yeah. We're just used to it.
Yeah, so, I mean, you know, look, if there was some type of weird ass alien going around, but fucking an upside down V with Aladdin pants on, like, it's obviously not going to look, it's going to look fake probably, because it's obviously something we've never seen before. So it's kind of sounds stupid, but like it's true.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, like we can't expect it to operate in the same sort of biological ways that we're used to seeing. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So, Eamon, what do you think the Fresno Nightcrawler is? Like, what's your theory? Like, realistically, is it a hoax? Is it like,
when I saw the first video, I thought that it was some sort of puppeteering thing,
right?
But obviously, if they've tried that. And they're saying, look, we're not able to recreate this.
Yeah.
The second video looks a bit more real to me. If I'm being honest, my gut's telling me it's some kind of a hoax. I'd look, you know, man, no one wants cryptids to be real more than me. But if I'm honest, that's what my gut's telling me. What about yourself?
Well, I think it's real. So, no, I don't know. I think it's unexplained. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I think that's, you know what? I think that's a good way to be. We'll stay on the fence securely. I'm happy to go with that too.
As a codologist, I try to get in the mind of a codologist, and I can't really figure out how they faked it. So for those that are listening that think it's an obvious fake, please do illuminate the scenario as to how you would effectively make it happen, you know. But I think, Eamon, we have solved the case. Well, we haven't solved it, but we've definitely covered the Fresno Nightcrawler. Have you anything to add?
The main thing I can say is I think it's a sentient Mickey. Like,
yes.
That's, if I'm going for anything. I mean, the only way I'd think it was real is if it's a sentient Mickey. Like, it is the sentient Mickey. We've found the sentient Mickey, and I think we all need to really appreciate that. That's a really cool thing. We found the sentient Mickey. It's a penis that thinks. Wow, that's awesome, isn't it? That's lovely, isn't it? That's just a really interesting thing.
Yeah, I fancy that, man. So, guys, I hope you really enjoyed this episode. I actually had a lot of fun today, and I thought this was a strong episode.
Strong episode, and we, the episode we recorded previously as well.
Strong.
Very good to have old Tom across with us. So
strong night.
That was about 3 weeks ago, but sure, look.
Yeah, that was 3 weeks ago. Strong night. If you've made it this far, folks, you are our diehard motherfuckers. Thank you for listening. And yeah, shouts out to all of our patrons. We do appreciate you a lot. I have been Rob.
And I have been Eamon.
And we have been Monsterfuls. And hopefully by the next episode we'll be lawsuit free. See you later, guys.
Love ya.